Hi, welcome to Buffzone. My name is Kyle Ringo. This is Ryan Thorburn. We cover the Colorado Athletic Department for the Daily Camera newspaper. Ryan, what's most likely to happen first? The U.S. wins a World Cup in soccer, or the Colorado football team gets back in the top 25?
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, I think it's CU getting back into the top 25. I love the World Cup, but we're light years away from beating Brazil.
But the Buffs look like they're light years away from getting back in the top 25. I mean, let's be honest. Colorado's not playing good football, and they're not a good team to begin with, and the combination is turning into some ugly Saturdays.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in August that, I think I mentioned that they're kind of like a non-BCS team. They had a good starting units and couldn't afford any injuries, and they've pretty much suffered injuries at every key position, from the offensive line to losing 9 cornerbacks. Now Rodney Stewart and Douglas Rippey are out. I mean, when it rains, it pours, and it keeps raining on the Buffs. And now, after Washington, Oregon's coming to town. So it just never lets up, and it's just about as bad a first season as Jon Embree can probably have imagined.
Hey, the Ducks come into Folsom Field on Saturday, the 3rd highest scoring team in the nation, and Colorado, with Rodney Stewart out and Paul Richardson still out, missing more than 50% of their total offensive production from just those 2 guys. And so, I mean, it's a huge task for the Buffs, and uphill doesn't even cut it. I don't even know how to describe this. I mean, I think the opening line on this game was the Buffs were 33-point underdogs at home.
Yeah.
I mean, at home. When was the last time that happened? We've kind of grown accustomed to those kind of spreads or whatever when the Buffs go on the road these days. But this is a home game in Folsom Field, and nobody is giving them any sort of credit whatsoever. And they don't really deserve it at this point. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be fair here. It's not that these guys aren't giving their best. It's not that they're, quitting or anything like that. There just isn't enough talent and depth across the entire roster in this program to cope with these injuries and to cope with this kind of schedule, where it's 13 straight weeks against 11 of those 13 opponents are BCS teams, and a lot of them are pretty darn good BCS teams.
Yeah, I think Jon Embree knows the situation. I think he's resigned to it. I think he's focusing on the fact that they're playing 13, maybe 14 true freshmen this year, that in a couple years that's going to pay off, that recruiting's going pretty well. He's happy with it, that this is about the future, and that's the way he should be. I mean, it's his first year. He's got a 5-year contract. He has a honeymoon period. This is his dream job. It's just tough for the fans who've gone through 5 years of hell with the wrong coach, and now they're starting that process from scratch with what they hope is the right coach. So that's what's tough from the outside, is that this is just year 6 of, and if you include the last 5-6 games of the Gary Barnett era, this is, 7 seasons of torture, really. But really the first for Jon Embree, and that's why he's staying positive. He's upbeat, focused on the task at hand, not going to take shortcuts. But really, this has been a brutal stretch historically for the Colorado football program.
It reminds me a lot of the 2006 season, the first season of Dan Hawkins. At this point in that year, the Buffs were 0-6, still looking for their first win, and they eventually found it against Texas Tech. But, Ryan, that season was the first season we started shooting Buffzone, and near the end of that season, Neil Welke, who used to sit in that chair there, actually wore a bag over his head. I'm just curious, are you prepared to go to those lengths this year?
No, I mean, I don't really have a dog in the hunt. I enjoy covering Colorado. I don't have a loyalty one way or the other.
Neil is a CU grad.
Neil is a CU guy, and he was known to take the gang on the hill to task. He was also known for trying to keep it positive with the coaches that he thought could get the job done. But You know, it is tough, you know, from a media perspective to come up with new angles. I mean, basically what the angle is player X is now injured and out, and opponent X ranked in the top 10 or 15 is up next, and you know, really there's no hope until the Arizona game for a victory. I hate to say that, and the players and coaches obviously don't go into the meeting rooms with that attitude, but on paper, Arizona at home is their really most realistic chance for a win at any point this season.
You know what, let's just switch up real quick, because there's this whole other interesting dynamic going on in that this isn't just really contained to the football program. The volleyball program and the women's soccer program are also going through really tough seasons here. And the first season of the Pac-12 conference is not going well for the Colorado Athletic Department. What do you make of all that?
Well, what I make of it is the Pac-12, in my opinion, is better at many of the Olympic sports than the Big 12. And the Big 12 is very good at a lot of things. But, you know, volleyball, I think there's 6 teams ranked in the top 20. CU's now, I believe, 0-11. They haven't won a set yet. The soccer team, which traditionally did very well in the Big 12, has not won a game yet. They have a lot of Colorado girls. Colorado's known for producing good soccer players, but you know, at this point you might want to think about recruiting Southern California and changing that roster up a little bit. You know, cross country is going to do well wherever Boulder is a running mecca. You know, I know a lot of fans don't get too excited about these sports, win or lose, but you know, it's our job to kind of look at the athletic department in general, and so far the Pac-12 transition could not be going worse overall.
Yeah, you know what? The cross-country, the Pac-12 cross-country championships are at Arizona State the same day the Buffs play at Arizona State. So I'll be there, and maybe that'll be one positive story we can write from a CU angle anyway. But this week, the Oregon Ducks are in town. What's your prediction? Well,
I mean, there is no scenario you can create, you know, outside of Hollywood that CU is going to win this game. I mean, they're going to lose bad. I think what you want to hope for is that some of the guys that are now next man up, Tony Jones, you know, linebackers still question who's going to fill in for Rippey, if they're going to move guys around or just call up a Brady Day or what they're going to do there. But you just want to see the young guys continue to get better, and they're playing against 4-star guys or really fast guys that have a lot of confidence, guys that have played in the Rose Bowl and in the national championship game. You want to see them compete against that level and get better.
So no score, and I'll go.
Okay, I'll give you a score. I'll go Joe Montana versus Broncos Super Bowl. I'll say 55-10.
That's a good one. I was gonna say that the Buffs somehow miraculously keep it under 50, but it's close. So I'll say Oregon wins 48-17. Come back next week, and we'll have some more gloom and doom for you.